Alright, welcome back guys. We're going to be switching over to the Master Ball Classic Cup just because level 50s are getting out of control in the regular Master Ball tier with all the legendaries and whatnot. But what can you do? So we're just going to go ahead and bring it down a tier. We're going to have Kyogre leading against Mewtwo. We're going to go ahead and go for a Surf, anticipating a shield. Then Mewtwo is going to go for a Side Strike is what I predicted. And since Side Strike hurts and I need to preserve my Kyogre, we're going to go ahead and shield the first one. Possibly let the second one through. Yeesh, still puts me in the red. Alright, so now they, for whatever reason, decide to switch, which is smart on their part because I go for a Surf, it goes through. And then afterwards, we're going to switch over to Dialga and then go for an Iron Head. We can just go for the Iron Head because it should be enough to do some chip damage. And then there we go. Brings it into a sliver of health, but then Kyogre's going to go for the Thunder here. Does very little damage, and then down goes Kyogre. Thankfully, that's not a blizzard. But then next up, in comes Garchomp. That puts us in a tricky spot. So now we have to go for the Iron Head in order to take it down. Boom. They shield it. And down goes Dialga. So now next up, we have Kyogre. We're going to try to do chip damage, but it wasn't enough. And to take it out, so we bring in Giratina. And then their Garchomp's going to go for Earth Power. In comes the Mewtwo. We're going to have to shield this because it's going to be a painful Side Strike. It's going to be doing a nice chunk of damage, but not enough to worry about. Down goes Mewtwo. In comes the Garchomp. We're going to go for an Ominous Wind here, and it's going to connect and faint Garchomp. Oh, yeah. Yeah, going back to these videos can be a little off-putting with the speed, but hey, you know what? We're trying to keep up here. All right, so now it's Cytogon. It's Kyogre versus Garchomp. With this one, we can stay in here and then just go straight for the Waterfall spam and then farm up towards a Surf. That brings the Garchomp to about half health, and then we're just going to go ahead and let this charge move go through. It's an Outrage, takes us into the red. And now we can follow up with a Surf. Surf goes through, takes out the Garchomp. Then next up comes Metagross. That puts us in a good spot because we have Giratina in the back for that Metagross. So we can just go ahead and go for another Surf, and then we can finally let Kyogre faint. There we go. He shields, and then down goes Kyogre. In comes Giratina. They're going to go for a Meteor Mash. We're going to let it go through because it's only going to take out like a third of our health. Oh, yeah, there we go. Little over half. Then, of course, they switch over to Togekiss. So we're going to go ahead and go for a Shadow Ball and then switch out into a Dialga. And then with that said, we're just going to go ahead and keep farming towards Iron Heads and get ready to shield the Flamethrower when it comes out. So yeah, there goes the Iron Head, and then after that, here comes the possible Flamethrower. So we're gonna shield here, and it's Ancient Power. Good on them for being able to scare me like that. But now we can just straight up farm down the Togekiss with Dragon Breath, and then bring in the Metagross. We go for an Iron Head, and then we seal this battle with a win. Yep, that's another W. But yeah, don't forget as well, people, to leave a like and subscribe on the video if you enjoy this content. All right, next up is Kyogre versus Groudon. Groudon switches out, so I bring in Giratina for their switching response, which is Mewtwo. We go for an Ominous Wind because we're anticipating a shield, and I was correct. So now the Mewtwo is going to go for a Side Strike. We're going to go ahead and shield that Side Strike, and then we're just going to go for another Ominous Wind. But the second Side Strike we're going to let through just because it's not going to put a huge dent in our Giratina. But the second one, the third one, we're going to have to go ahead and shield just because it'll knock us out. We don't want to lose switch advantage. And now we just go for the Ominous Wind here. Down goes Mewtwo, and then next up comes their makeup choice. Jesus. All right, so now there's Groudon, and then we're going to follow that up with a Shadow Ball, anticipating them to not shield, but they shield, so that throws me off just a tad bit. They're going to go ahead and go for a Fire Punch here. Boom. And then there we go, down goes Giratina, in comes Kyogre. They realize that that's not a good matchup, so they bring in Dialga. We try to farm up towards a Blizzard, but then we're worried about getting hit with a Draco Meteor, so we go ahead and switch right away. And there's a Draco Meteor that I predicted, and yeesh, takes out our Dialga. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and go for a Surf just because the Dialga is low enough, and we want to farm up to have 2 Surfs on this Groudon. So now it's down to the wire here. We're going to go for a Surf. That Groudon has just a tiny sliver of health, but look at that. They're able to get the Earthquake and then take us out. That's right, I do show my losses just to show that I'm human. Anyway, it's Yolius 96, Giratina versus Melmetal. We're going to go ahead and stick with our original plan here. We're just going to keep farming up towards the max, and then we're just going to go for, I hope I go for a Shadow Ball here, just because we think that they're not going to go for the pressure. So we go for Oh, looks like I went for Ominous Wind. Go figure. I go for Ominous Wind. They don't shield. It always happens the opposite direction of what I want to, even when I try to mix it up. So anyway, their Melmetal goes for Rock Slide and another Rock Slide. You know, just the usual Rock Slide spam. And I'm going to go ahead and go for an Ominous Wind here, and then just finish it up with a second one. But yeah, we do 3 Ominous Winds, no stat boosts, and then in comes the Metagross right here. It takes out my Giratina, then in comes the Kyogre, but then they switch to Dragonite, so I go ahead and follow that up with a Dialga. We can go ahead and let this Dragon Claw go through, and then we're going to follow that up with Dragon Breath spam. It's pretty straightforward here. We're going to shield this Dragon Claw though, so that we have as much charge energy ready for the the Metagross on the switch in, but we're gonna just go ahead and follow it up with a Draco Meteor, and then they go ahead and shield that, so that kind of puts us in an iffy situation, but we can at least get one more Iron Head before we faint here. We go for the Iron Head, does some chip damage, but then we switch right away over to Kyogre so that we can Waterfall spam this thing to the ground. They go for an Earthquake, puts us in the yellow, but then the chip damage puts us in the red, but we farm down to victory. But yeah, while we're in the middle of a transition, don't forget to check out the affiliate links as well. One of them I like to suggest is Weevil. Deposit money and then earn free stocks. But yeah, just check out the affiliate links. Alright, so back to the battle. It's Giratina versus Lugia for the lead. We're going to go ahead and go for an Ominous Wind here. We're anticipating them to use like a Sky Attack or Aeroblast, but yeah, nothing too bad to worry about. Then after this, the Giratinas, or the Lugia is going to go for the Sky Attack. We shield it just as a precaution in case it could knock us out. And then we want to preserve the Giratina, so we're going to switch to Dialga just because we want to, again, stay in a good spot. And we can tank these Sky Attack, no problems. But then they switch over to Ho-Oh, so I just thought, you know what, let's just go for Draco Meteor. Maybe they're not going to anticipate it. And they don't anticipate it, so now in comes the Ho-Oh, and I just thought, you know what, let's just sacrifice Dialga since it's going to put us in a good spot anyway. And then wouldn't you know it, I survived with a sliver of health, so that's enough to knock out their Ho-Oh. And then in comes a Lugia. I bring my Giratina to the battle, and then we farm down this Lugia after shielding. And then they bring in their, what is it? Is it Giratina? Yep, it's Giratina versus Giratina. Then we try to go for one more Ominous Wind just so that we can get some chip damage in before ours goes down to bring in the Kyogre. And now in comes Kyogre. The Giratina is going to go for a Shadow Ball. And then now we just need to make sure that we can get enough damage in to seal this battle. There's the Surf. There we go. And it wasn't enough. Oh, you know what? This is another loss that I want to just show, to just say once again, I am a human being that loses, and you need to see my battles where I lose so that you can troll me in the comment section saying, oh, you suck. You suck, you suck. So yeah, after dealing with that team for a little bit, I decided to mix it up. I have my Zekrom that I have sitting in the back, so we bring that in, and then Zekrom for the lead versus Melmetal. We go for a Wild Charge here, and then they shield it. I switch right over to a Kyogre. But yeah, this Melmetal is pretty much going to go for a Rock Slide spam, so we're just going to roll with that. Down goes the first Rock Slide, then after that, we're just going to keep farming towards a Surf, and then hope that we can take this thing down. But since this Melmetal looks like it has a sliver of health, its last hurrah is most likely going to be Superpower and then either switch out or faint. But yeah, down goes the Melmetal after it uses a Superpower. In comes the Togekiss. We're going to go ahead and answer that with a Surf, and then since we have a sliver of health left and we want to be able to safe switch if needed, we go ahead and let Kyogre go down and then bring in Dialga. We farm up towards an Iron Head, but then they predictably switch out to a Mewtwo. And I just thought, you know what? Let's go ahead and tank this. Shouldn't be too bad. I was totally wrong. That Side Strike nearly knocked out my Zekrom, and then they did chip damage with Side Strike. So, with that said, we're just going to go ahead and have this Mewtwo use Side Strike, and then we just try to get as close to farm down as possible. But since we have a surplus of energy and we didn't want them to Side Strike again, we just go ahead and use an Iron Head to take out the Mewtwo. They don't shield because they need to save it for the Togekiss, because I just used my second Iron Head that I had saved up and the Togekiss shielded it. So now I need to burn this thing down before it can get to another charge move or to farm us down, burn us down with Charm. We get to another Iron Head, and then there we go, that seals the win. But yeah, there's another W. I also want to take another quick moment here just to let you know that we also cover other Pokemon battle types. We cover Pokemon Masters, Pokemon Sword and Shield ranked doubles, then soon Pokemon Unite when that goes live. But anyway, back to the battle. It's Zekrom versus Melmetal. Ooh, I like this part of the song. The Melmetal is going to go for a Rock Slide. I'm going to go ahead and spam my way over to a Crunch. Yeah, Crunch. Melmetal goes for its second Rock Slide, and then finally we go for the first Crunch that Zekrom's going to launch. There we go, goes through, and then now we go for another one before the Melmetal can go ahead and use another charge move here. Down goes a shield, but not the Melmetal. So we're going to answer back with a shield because we don't want to have the disadvantage. The Melmetal goes for a superpower, so we both switch out at the same time, and then in comes Garchomp, and in comes my Kyogre. The Garchomp's going to go for an Outrage, put my Kyogre at a sliver of health, but then we're just going to go ahead and keep farming up a little bit more. Kyogre goes for the Surf here, connects, and then now we just try to farm down here and then save our energy so that we can have another Surf ready on the switch in. There's the Outrage. Don't know why they use Outrage when they can use Sand Tomb or whatever. Save some more energy. Anyway, Melmetal comes in, and then we go for a Surf to take out the Melmetal. Down that goes. Now that just leaves us with Yveltal. They don't know that I have Dialga on the back, so they just know I have Kyogre and Zekrom. We're going to let Kyogre go down here so that we can safely switch if needed. So here we go ahead and switch, thinking that it was going to use like a Dark move to finish off, but then we bring in Dialga, so I just thought, crap, they're going to use Focus Blast, and they do. So, but we finish off with Zekrom and win by